In the competitive world of business, success doesn't come from cutting your prices to the bone and hoping for the best. Competing based solely on price is a race to the bottom, one where profits shrink until you're left with almost nothing. When the only thing differentiating your product is its price, you're not fighting for profits, you're fighting for poverty. The race to the bottom. Imagine you're selling a product that's available everywhere, on every marketplace from Alibaba to Amazon. Now, the only thing that sets you apart from hundreds of others is the price. As more and more sellers enter the market, you're forced to lower your prices even further just to keep up. But here's the problem. Lowering your price doesn't make you more profitable. It eats away at your margins until you're barely making a cent. This is the reality for anyone competing in a commoditized market. Commodities are products that are essentially the same no matter who makes them, like paper, gas, or generic phone accessories. When you're selling a product that's interchangeable with countless others, the only way to attract customers is by offering the lowest price. But here's the catch. The lowest price doesn't lead to long-term success. It leads to lower profits and eventually burnout. Take the example of the countless phone case sellers who race to drop their prices. At first, it's a good business. The margins are healthy, the demand is there, and you've got a niche. But once competitors flood the market, especially those who can afford to sell for much less due to economies of scale, you're left with little choice but to slash your prices again and again. Eventually, you find yourself in a position where working a minimum wage job might make you more money. The reality of competing on price. Think about some of the biggest industries in the world: travel, insurance, and retail. These industries are often commodities, where the product or service offered is nearly identical across the board. Airline tickets, for instance. Most travelers will hop on whichever airline offers the cheapest ticket, regardless of the brand. The experience is usually the same: cramped seats, delayed flights, and average food. The same goes for insurance. After years of loyalty to one company, many consumers will switch to another provider with the exact same coverage, simply because the new company offers a better price. When price is the only difference between two similar products, customers will always choose the cheaper option. This is the nature of a commoditized market. Price is the only differentiator. And when that's the case, you can only compete for poverty. Why? Competing on price is a losing game. Competing on price forces you into a vicious cycle. Your competitors are always going to be looking for ways to undercut your prices, and as soon as you lower your own, they'll follow suit. This back-and-forth bidding war eventually leads to lower and lower margins, and the whole market becomes unsustainable. The result? You're stuck in a race to the bottom where nobody wins. Even big companies like Amazon or Alibaba thrive on commoditized goods. But for entrepreneurs entering these platforms, the story is usually the same. Sell something cheap, and watch your margins get thinner and thinner. Eventually, you reach a point where there's no room for profit left. The sad truth is, as soon as you start competing on price, you're no longer an entrepreneur. You're just another player, in a flooded market hoping to outlast the others. And when you exit, guess what? Someone else will take your place and keep the cycle going. What are you really offering? As an entrepreneur, ask yourself, why should people choose your product or service over the competition? What unique value do you bring to the table that makes your offering stand out? These are the questions that can make or break your business. If you're just another vendor in an endless sea of identical options, then you're not offering value. You're offering the cheapest option, and that's a dangerous game to play. Instead, focus on creating something that has value beyond just price. Consider Apple, for example. People don't buy Apple products because they're cheap. They buy them because of the experience, the design, and the brand loyalty that Apple has built over the years. Their products may be more expensive, but customers are willing to pay a premium for something that delivers more than just the basics. Standing out in a crowded market. If you're entering a market that feels saturated, don't fall into the trap of thinking the only way to win is by lowering your price. Instead, focus on value skewing, shifting the focus from price to what makes your product special. This could be offering superior customer service, providing a unique feature that competitors don't have, creating a more sustainable or eco-friendly product, designing your product with better craftsmanship or materials. The key is to find areas where you can differentiate and add value. When you compete based on price alone, you're engaging in a race that only leads to smaller profits. But when you focus on offering something with true value, something that solves a problem or enhances the experience, you can build a sustainable business that doesn't rely on slashing prices to stay afloat. Conclusion: competing for profit, not poverty. To succeed in business, you need to shift your focus from being the cheapest to being the best at providing value. Competing on price might bring in customers in the short term, but it will eventually eat into your margins and lead to burnout. On the other hand, competing for true value, whether it's through better quality, innovation, customer experience, or brand loyalty, will set you up for sustainable growth and long-term success. So, next time you're tempted to drop your prices to win a sale, remember, you're not just competing for profit, you're competing for your future. Shift your focus from price to value, and you'll never have to worry about the race to the bottom again. Summary: competing on price is a losing game that leads to lower profits and burnout. Instead, focus on offering unique value, whether through quality, experience, or innovation, and build a business that thrives.